TPE 2019 in Las Vegas. Going to be talking to Corey and Jay of, is it Kuxe?
Yes, sir.
Did I say it right?
You did actually.
No, wait a minute. Now, to be candid, I didn't ask you about the pronunciation of the name,
No,
did I?
that was very impressive.
Right.
Most people don't.
Well, that's one of the only things I'm good at. Well, listen, guys. Corey, Jay, Johnathan, blah, blah, blah. Tell me about how long has the company been around and what got you started? And you guys can trade off, you can bounce off each other. If it turns into a fight,
I'll just fire him. It's okay.
There you go. You're terminated.
Basically, the company's been around for a couple of months.
Just a few months. So this is not like you've been around for a few years or whatever.
Correct. Yeah. We've been in the procedure for probably about a year and a half. We wanted to make sure the actual product was actually good before we release it. We want to make sure that we came out the best of the best. What actually started it is with the actual owner. His father had cancer. My dad's had 3 strokes, a couple heart attacks, and we knew that CBD was out. A lot of people didn't know about it, but we knew about it. So he used it for his father. I used it for my father as well. So
and it's just silly too, because a lot of times with a lot of these issues, you have to take all these crazy pharmaceuticals that you feel like crap all the time. Whereas this is just a natural method for great anti-inflammatory, it has antipsychotics, it just helps you feel better.
And I even, there's not topographical, I'm not talking maps now, but topical. Sorry about
CBD
that.
across the land.
Yeah, we'll do a topo map across the country, color coded or what have you. But you've got the topical applied products and what have you.
Exactly, and our topical products are full spectrum, so they do work fantastically. The other thing also some people worry about is with full spectrum products, they do contain sometimes trace amounts of THC. So people in the medical career, law enforcement aren't always able to use them. But with topical applications, they actually never enter your bloodstream. So it's way easier and it's a safe alternative for everybody. CBD is a fantastic moisturizer on top of it, so it actually penetrates really deep in your tissue.
I know I'm cracking up a little bit. Yeah, it's a fantastic moisturizer, and it'll cure acne too.
Well, believe it or not, it does.
No kidding.
CBD helps to reduce the production of sebum within the skin.
Okay.
Sebum is what actually creates zits, pimples, and just kind of clogs up your pores.
Right.
So it can actually help with better skin.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, we're going to start seeing this on nationwide broadcasting, right?
The more you know.
Yeah, exactly. So again, the company, and as a lot of us know, CBD is the current term for cannabis.
Yes.
But entry level for most jurisdictions is from medical use.
Yes,
California and some of the other
Actually,
states.
believe it or not, hemp. There's 2 main products. There's cannabis and hemp. They are basically the same idea, but it's like saying a lemon and an orange is the same thing. They are both part of the citrus family, but they are different. So the hemp is essentially like the mother plant. That's what it all started as. The cannabis plant, they just selectively bred it over time to get the exact traits they want, such as high THC levels, lower CBD levels, because people want that buzz. But with the hemp plant, CBD is actually the foremost molecule within it. So what we do is we take that, process it down, and there's almost no THC in it whatsoever.
In the hemp product.
Correct. And then on top of that,
let me just clarify, is hemp a different plant than cannabis plants?
Yes and no.
Okay.
They are in the same family, but they are a different genus, I suppose.
Okay.
So with the hemp plant, it's actually classified as an agricultural product.
Right, because they used to make rope out of it.
Exactly.
So,
rope, t-shirts, bras, the whole deal.
Yeah.
Whereas cannabis, it is pretty much exclusively used as a medical property now. But before, it was considered no help whatsoever, so no one could grow it.
Well, the politicians classified it as
exactly.
that. Yeah.
But with hemp, because it has the CBD, which is so richly, that's the main idea. That's what we use it out of. And it is so much a higher yield, so much more efficient. It's better on the customers because we don't have to charge them outrageous prices, because we don't have to pay for outrageously expensive plants that have been genetically engineered over time to have, it has this much CBD, and we lowered down the THC. If you just go with the mother plant, you never got to worry about the THC to begin with, and it has the highest concentration of CBD. It's fantastic.
Interesting. So you guys have really put your huge amount of effort in research.
Oh yeah.
If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right.
Exactly. So is did I say that right now?
Said it right the first time. There you go.
Yep. We altered the umlaut. No, that's not an umlaut, but we altered the whatever that's called in the dictionary. So it's cute reference or cute application of the language. I can dig it. So what are your backgrounds? Do you have a background in chemistry or
Believe it or not,
agricultural
I have
development?
a background in culinary arts and retail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I used to be an insurance investigator before I did this.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
But we have a passion for information, a passion for learning, and a passion for helping people.
Yeah,
And that's at the end of the day what this is all about. Helping people in education.
So Kuxe is based in, I noticed, Florida here and there, but also I think Virginia I saw. Where's the company based out of?
It's based out of Hollywood, Florida.
Hollywood, Florida.
Hollywood, Florida. My office is in Virginia.
Okay. So that's where I'm kind of getting that little cross-up. Okay. Which makes sense. The company being around for just a few months, do you have a distribution platform in place, or?
We do, yes.
Okay.
So we have our own distribution center in Hollywood. We are able to make large quantities. So if anyone ever decided to come up to us and you're interested in trying some flavors or thinking about like picking up a couple, we can actually, whether you want 5 bottles, whether you want 5,000 bottles, we can easily get it to you within a couple days.
And that would be going to those outlets or stores or what have you, depending on jurisdiction and location.
Yeah, absolutely. Wherever
Are you encountering any? And again, I told you originally, I'm going to come up with some dumbass questions. Are there any shipping complications, legislatively or legally?
Not with the e-liquids or the tinctures. A lot of issues that a lot of these distributors are coming into is with the dry flower products.
Okay.
Dry flower products are very difficult to ship now because a lot
And say that again because we had some overhead.
No,
Dry
of course.
flower products are.
Dry flower products are incredibly difficult to ship for a number of reasons. One of which is a lot of times they go by weight and they also go by x-ray sometimes. They also would have occasionally dogs go through. And even though they are technically different, they do have the same trace sense. So they can get flagged as a hemp plant or as a cannabis plant. And the only way to test it is they have to send it out somewhere to have it tested. And then you can eventually get it back maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Maybe. So that's something we don't do. I mean, that's the one item that we don't have. We don't have the CBD flower itself because, we don't have to go through the process trying to send it to you, then it gets stuck, and you may get it, you may not get it. So, that's something we're not going to touch, as of now. If things change in the future, maybe. But that's something we want to stay away from now because CBD is something that a lot of people are getting to know about now. You have different companies that, sell CBD, but you have a lot of the generic people who don't know what it is. So if they actually see like a CBD flower, they think it's going to be marijuana, which it's not. So they get stopped and flagged all the time.
Right.
So we'd rather not have you place an order for it, then it gets flagged, stopped, and you don't get it.
So educate us, CBD, what does it stand for?
CBD is basically cannabinoid. It's part of the endocannabinoid system. So that's all part of your brain. So THC, CBD, all those things, your body essentially makes all those chemicals already. It's a little bit different, but in the cannabis plant, they are so incredibly similar that when you ingest it, it gloms onto it and it actually mimics our own body chemicals. So you still get the effect. Now, they react with what's called CB reactors. There's CB1 and CB2 are the two main ones. They're found all over your body. They're in your skin, your muscles, your bones, your tendon sheaths, your peripheral nerves, the whole deal. So every form of application is absolutely effective, but definitely depending upon which form of application you go for, will have slightly different effects. So for instance, if you have just like a sore joint, topical, all day. If you're having more of like a colitis issue or Crohn's disease, I'd go for some tincture because that's going to be more your whole body. It's going to be the inside as well, and that's going to be as well as it could help out with some muscles. If you were say have some neuropathy issues, you could take a daily supplement. Now over time, what that does is it can help reduce some of the stress on your liver, help reduce the spread of neuropathy, or even epilepsy. Epilepsy is a good one because it's the only thing so far that has been clinically proven to be helped by CBD.
Really?
Yes.
Where are those trials or studies conducted, do you know?
I cannot remember the college did it off the top of my head. But it's,
through a university then?
Yeah, they're very easily accessible.
Right.
They have found a 10 milligram dose, as low as 10 milligrams a day, for all forms of epilepsy, reduce the frequency of seizures phenomenally. And with two certain forms of epilepsy, it can actually reduce the frequency of episodes by 47%.
Up to 47%.
Yeah, that's
and of course, there are several different versions of epilepsy as well.
Absolutely.
So,
That's what two of the versions, it can help up to 47%. It helps all of them fantastically, but those two, oh my goodness. And on top of all of that, it's more effective than a lot of the medication that's already out on the market now, and with far less harmful side effects. You're not zonked out of your brain all the time. You're not just tired. You're not feeling burnt out. And it's even a good help for depression, I found. So for a lot of people, they take their depression meds, they're taking their like antidepressants.
Right.
Over time, that can give you mood fluctuations. It can help. Some people can help with their like weight if that's the thing they're worried about. It's not great for your liver. It's not great for your kidneys. The whole deal. CBD has been found to actually be more effective than most antidepressants.
Well, and as you know, we're having a huge problem with it. Well, and have had a huge problem with. Of course, we're having a huge problem with opioids and what have you.
Of course.
But there's been a huge problem with antidepressants, with causing behavior problems and other side effects.
Exactly. And with this, you don't get the horrible mood fluctuations because it's not messing with your dopamine, your serotonin, your main brain chemicals that are affecting how you live and act. So the CBD is going to help actually balance things out, but keep you on a nice, calm level.
Got a question for you, Corey.
Of course.
Has your company, has Kuxe, performed any testing, independent or maybe partnered with labs or what have you?
Right now we have our own independent testing. It is all tested down to molecular level to make sure everything is at top-notch quality, to make sure the consumer is always getting the best.
And you're talking about the actual product itself, so there's a uniformity, right?
Yeah, the product.
Right,
Absolutely.
okay. And this is just regular candy, of course.
Yeah. That's just candy. We don't touch that.
Although, who knows, you may end up with a partnership with some of those companies.
Maybe
this may be, not that I'm an expert, but this may be worse than this as far as
refined sugar's not great for you.
Yeah. So you said you have an independent lab that tests your product. Is that an in-house lab or is it an independent?
Have Jay field this one.
Okay. It's actually in-house.
Okay.
The lab that actually makes it for us, they actually have, they have their testing center basically connected to it itself. So they actually test it after they make it just to make sure it's as pure as it can be.
So that would be similar to like a winery. We'll have most wineries, even small wineries. You guys may already know this.
Going on.
They'll have their own little lab at the winery, and they're testing their quality.
Absolutely.
A lot of food products do the same thing where they're testing quality and consistency or what have you. So that's what you folks are doing in-house with Kuxe.
Of course.
Another question that comes to mind, we've got an issue with the legalization of, I'm just going to say cannabis products because that's what I understand it as.
Right.
CBD, what have you, hemp. We've got an issue with legalization of these products in certain states, certain jurisdictions. Whereas at one point, testing positive for marijuana, let's say, is an automatic indication of you're in violation of that code of that state.
Correct.
Now that it's legal, we as a culture will have to deal with kind of like alcohol. Every state has their own level of alcohol that you're automatically considered prima facie, you're considered under the influence of that substance. Is there any test, and I know that there are some jurisdictions on a legal level, on a law enforcement type level, where there are no current prima facie levels of blood level to indicate that now this person is considered automatically intoxicated. They have to base it on their behavior.
What I understand at the moment, this is actually a huge issue because especially in states where it is recreational, you could, for instance, here in Las Vegas, you could go out and you could smoke some cannabis from one of the dispensaries. Go out, drive your car. You could have smoked 5 hours ago. But if you were a little tired and your eyes are a little red, you get pulled over for, you say you speed a little bit, they're still going to do a blood test to make sure that you have anything in your system. But a blood test, you're looking at a 90-day period that you could have ingested that cannabis. That's not acceptable. It's because if I did something 90 days ago, how is that going to affect my driving now?
How would that have an impairment on that person?
Exactly.
And for people that don't know, will cannabis or a cannabis-like substance, will that remain in the bloodstream for 90 days? And that may be dependent upon the individual.
It does very much depend on the individual. Okay. Typically for urine tests, they find it because it bonds to fat cells, and it just kind of slowly disperses into your system through there.
Right.
With CBD, it's such a low level that it won't build up in your system quite as quickly, but there is still the potential. So they're going to have to ask themselves a couple of hard questions, whereas we're going to need to spend some more money to find a better testing route. Right. To my understanding, there is actually a new form in, I believe it was Colorado or California, that they're looking into a specialized breathalyzer. that can actually test the amount of molecules within your mouth to see when the last time you ingested it. But the issue with that is it's truly only effective if you smoke it. If you were to say eat an edible and then brush your teeth, you won't have the same residue in your mouth, so that breathalyzer would not be effective.
You could be high as a kite as long as you brush your teeth, and you're going to pass that test.
Precisely. So we're going to need to, as a culture, especially as things are becoming legalized, find a more precise way so as not penalize someone for not doing anything.
You have to be fair with this legislation,
Exactly.
and you have to be fair.
As well, you need to look at the levels, because if someone is taking a full spectrum CBD product on a daily basis and it's 0.3% THC, it will build up in their system over time. But if they go for a job interview, pee in a cup, and they come back dirty, okay, but look at the levels. Someone who's ingesting actual cannabis with high THC levels on a daily are going to have much, much higher levels in their body than someone who's going to have low level at this point. And on top of that, if there is a recommendation from a doctor or something to that effect, it should be given in conjunction or taken in consideration with your verdict.
Right.
So
there's a lot of, from a chemical point or a testing point, we really are at the low point of the learning curve at this time.
Well, we're basically coming right out of Prohibition right now.
Yeah.
Back in the 20s, we're coming right out of Prohibition. The problem is, all these cannabis companies, all these hemp companies, they don't have big liquor lobbyists that have been back in place before Prohibition.
Right.
We've been in Prohibition since before Prohibition.
Right.
It's
early 1900s.
exactly, and
Yeah.
there's been so much slander and so much everything that just the public perception of everything is so skewed that it's going to take a long time of education for people to really get more comfortable.
Well, some of the early cannabis laws, and I'm just going to say cannabis, but marijuana
They're
type
scare
laws.
tactics.
Well, they were not only that, but they were, I don't like throwing the word around, but they were racist based. They were ethnically based to target certain ethnicities in our country. So, when you're looking at your original legislation being unfair on its origin, you have to get away from that curve as well.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
So
everything should be fair and people are people, man.
Right.
People are people, and even from just a sample group of this conference right here, there is a myriad of everybody, every race, every religion, everybody. I have talked to the vast majority of people who come by. Everyone smokes weed. Everyone smokes weed. Everyone uses CBD. Everybody drinks. People are people, man. We all like the same thing. It's not a color skin thing. It's not a race thing. It's not an ethnic thing. It's not people in this neighborhood like it more. There's people in this neighborhood like it less. No. These people are just a little bit sneakier about it. These people are a little bit more comfortable, so they get caught a little bit more often.
Well, and that gets into a whole. That gets into an entire socioeconomic foundation as well. More people, lower socioeconomic base, are going to be arrested for driving under the influence because most of them are going to go away from their home to drink because they want to get away from the home. Whereas you've got a wealthy person they're going to be more than happy drinking at their personal bar at their mansion. Why do they need to go someplace unless they want to go to a club? And sometimes they're going to have somebody driving
But
them.
even
So there's a whole
then,
thing.
it's an issue too because you
And my comment I'm not negating the responsibility factor of what somebody should or shouldn't do.
Just because someone will have a nicer car, you would look at that and go, oh, they might have a lawyer, it's going to be a hard time to get them a ticket. Right. So it doesn't matter if your color, if you have a cheap car, they're going to go, oh, you don't have as much money, you can't defend it as much, easy peasy.
Yeah, and there are people that will do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's more just economic class-based, it's not even race-based.
And that's why I was saying socioeconomic. It's
Exactly.
just, Now, before, and we're going to spin off into the politics here real quick. And by the way, I got to say, glorious beards, brother, glorious beards.
We do what we can, we do what we can.
Yeah. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about some of the products?
Absolutely. So, what we have here right now is our e-liquid production.
Say again?
Our e-liquid line.
Okay.
So we have 14 different flavors. We have a myriad of fruit, candy, dessert, as well as a menthol flavor. They're all made of a water-based isolate, so they are available for anyone from any industry, whether you be in law enforcement or healthcare. They come in a 60 milliliter container, so they will actually last you quite a while. It's blacked out, so you don't have to worry about UV issues. You don't have to worry about heat nearly as much. They are a 60-40 blend, so they're going to give you fantastic cloud as well as great flavor. And not only that, they'll be used in any device. You can use them in a sub-ohm tank, RDA, throw them in a pod system, doesn't even matter.
Now, Corey, did you just say a cloud? Or give you a glorious cloud or something like that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because this is not smoke, it's vapor.
Right.
When there's smoke, there's combustion. When there's vapor, it's clouds.
Right.
So on top, we also have a line of tinctures. Now our tinctures are going to be full spectrum. They are defractionated coconut oil with our CBD base in there. So they're going to come in a couple different levels. We have 250 ranging all the way up to 5,000 for the more intensive needs. With those sublingual application, it just goes right under your tongue. Hold there for 30, 60 seconds, swallow it, good to go. Lasts just 5 to 7 hours. So it's fantastic for social anxiety, great for people with arthritis, depression. I've helped people with Parkinson's, people with multiple sclerosis, PTSD.
No kidding.
Absolutely.
Parkinson's.
Yes.
Okay.
It absolutely does.
Now you said tincture, correct?
Yes.
Say a customer using the tincture, will they get an intoxication from that?
No.
They won't get a high or a buzz?
No. So CBD will actually take away from a THC buzz, assuming that is in higher levels. So now the way that works is, say your CB receptor is kind of like a slice of pie here. Your THC are just a smaller slice of pie that just fit right in there, stack it up, and then you get your effect. CBD is, think of it as more like a Pac-Man. It sits right on top of that receptor, so the THC can't bind as well with the receptors. So you're getting the medicinal effect, but you're not actually getting the psychoactives. Now, it will give you a relaxation, but there is no dizziness, there is no loss of control, so to speak. You'll, at the very most, if you are very sensitive, take a nap. You'll get a little tired, but that's really it.
Have you done any testing regarding motor skills with any of the products? Which, of course, could be an individual thing, too. You could do 100 people and you may have a 50-50 reaction or what have you.
It is always individualized, but in general, for the majority of people, it will not affect your motor skills at all. CBD is actually shown to boost your metabolism, help to gain memory retention, help to improve focus. It's a much, much more productive form of the hemp plant.
Interesting. Anything else either one of you would like to add to this? I mean, this has just been a wealth of information. I really appreciate you guys giving me the time for this.
Absolutely. I always just suggest to people, do a little bit of independent research. Oh, this is a big thing. Now, we mentioned earlier with the depression and that it helps more than some medications. If you buy CBD, don't just stop taking your medicine. Don't do it.
No.
Continue taking your medicine and use CBD in conjunction. If it starts to help more and you feel comfortable, you can talk with your professional, start to lower your dose, and eventually wean yourself off. But never just stop.
Yeah.
What kind of experience are you aware of a person, let's say an individual who is on prescriptions, a prescription or multiple prescriptions,
I can tell you that.
and then they're using. But my question is, what's the frequency of that person actually interacting with their physician and getting, from the professional, the medical professional aspect? What kind of feedback are you getting from the medical professionals?
It's like, I, through the family, stuff like that, I occurred, anxiety. So, I didn't really get anxiety until, I stopped smoking cigarettes when I was 20 years old. So, I took Xanax for years. And, I hated the effect of, being groggy, not being able to really do anything, and it wear off, you start, getting like a mood swing. And then, I was kind of tired of that. So then, I started looking into CBD. I started using CBD products, and I, went to talk to my physician, talked to him about it. And he was like, well, yeah, CBD is a thing that you can use, it does work, but I don't recommend it. That was like years ago.
And do you think that was because he might have been concerned about a liability issue, or
there's that, as well as until very recently, there's almost no information on this. There's
no actual studies from from a medical board or what have you.
And when you're in the medical field, you want studies.
Yeah.
You want real, intelligent, professional, degreed people looking at these products and saying, my professional opinion is X, X, and X.
Right.
You don't want George over at CBD Plus magazine going, oh yeah, this is the best, and you never need to worry about it ever again. Right. Because he means nothing to them.
Right.
So.
And frankly, George at the dispensary is probably not the best guy to be getting advice from.
Yeah, it's been, since I started, using the CBD, I haven't actually taken medicine for anxiety for 4 years.
And you were using Xanax.
I was, yes.
And of course, there's the complication of like if you mix alcohol with some of the antidepressants, there's potential major problems.
Absolutely.
And wouldn't necessarily have that with CBD.
Not at all.
You guys even have me saying CBD now. Okay.
Yeah. So I love it. I mean, I haven't touched any kind of medication for any anxiety for 4 years since I've used CBD. I mean,
And as for when
life-changing.
to talk to your doctor after beginning, you will notice some effects from CBD immediately, but if you use it especially in the tincture form or other ingestible forms, it will build up in your system within about 2 to 5 weeks for peak levels. At that point is when I would suggest going to talk to your doctor and say, hey, I've noticed at this point I'm feeling a little better in this sense. Don't say I would like to go off my medicine, but I would like to maybe lower the dose a little bit to see if I can still have the same comparable effects.
Change those dosages under somewhat of a controlled environment.
Exactly.
Don't run off and just do it on your own because, hey, I think I'm feeling
and
better.
a lot of with those medications too, you can't just stop taking them.
Right.
They will. It's bad. Like it'll mess you up.
Right.
So yeah, it's within about 2 to 5 weeks. It would be the first time I would suggest really talking to your doctor after beginning. Well, talk to your doctor the first time and say, hey, are you okay with this?
And I think maybe from the standpoint of the interview, I think the recommendation would be talk to your physician even before you start doing something.
Of course,
because
of course.
no one
It's
wants to have that liability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always get multiple things. And we're not doctors. I don't know about every medication out there.
Dude, you look like one. I mean,
Well, thank you. But I don't know about every medication out there. So I cannot tell you for a fact 1,000%
Right.
that CBD will not have an adverse reaction with every medication.
And we're
out
still in the infancy of the, for lack of a better word, the industry. Or,
Exactly.
There's
But
a lot to
given
be
more
done,
time,
I'm sure.
it will be better. And as long as you have a good dialogue with your medical professional, every 1, 2, 3 months, go talk to them. Say hey, I feel this way now after this time, and they'll have a good dialogue back and forth. We can adjust they can adjust your medication. We can adjust your CBD levels. We get the perfect hit just for you, so you feel the best as you always can.
Okay. So if you're comfortable with it, give me some numbers. What type of distribution are you having at this point? And it could be just number of bottles of product that you seem to be processing and distributing and selling, or whatever kind of numbers you'd like to toss out. I'm just curious about that.
Numbers as in quantity-wise, or
whatever you're comfortable mentioning. Yeah. Whatever you can just kind of give me an idea of the flow that you're into right now.
quantity, like how much we're actually doing,
Say again.
like amount
How much
that
we're able to ship out on a moment's notice.
Oh, how much we're able to ship out?
Yeah. Well, let's go back to when you first started, just a few months ago, you said.
Okay.
So you're probably doing what? I don't know, a couple of cases a week or something like
A
that.
couple
more than
cases
one.
a week, yeah, we're able to send probably 1 to 200 bottles of each milligram strength. Now that we've actually grown, we've actually got the stock we actually want. I mean, you can order up to probably 1,000 bottles of each one. We get it shipped out to you as soon as possible.
Okay, so that basically your production is upscaling and what have you. Personal level, favorite adult beverage?
I enjoy a good double IPA.
Outstanding. Any particular names that you like? Because there's so many out there, but
You know.
My,
Flat tire.
my
Say again?
personal
Flat
favorite.
tire.
Flat tire.
My personal favorite is resin brand.
Resin?
Yes, you
Okay.
can actually only get it seasonally. The double resin. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It comes in a little can about this much. It's a little bit pricey, but you drink a 6-pack, you're done for the night.
Now, does it have CBD or cannabis
Oh, no,
in it?
no,
Okay,
it's
because when you
just-
said resin, I'm thinking like resin
Oh
from...
no, that's just the name. It's
Yeah.
it's a very, very heady, hoppy, just IPA. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, and now you're out of Florida, correct?
Actually, no, I'm out of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Okay, local. Is that a local brewery?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to get it, honestly.
Yeah.
You can only get it seasonally, and even then, only
Depending on where it's distributed, because
Exactly.
that's really tightly controlled in a lot of regards. State and even in some states,
Oh no, it's just they only have
divided
so
up
much.
in the states.
So it's first come, first served.
So now, Johnathan, favorite adult beverage, especially now that you're not using Xanax.
Yeah. Actually, it's Macallan. I'm a whiskey guy.
Outstanding.
This what helps grow the beard.
Yeah, it does, and it will help develop the character of the beer.
Exactly. As well.
You like Lagavulin or any other scotches?
No, I just
Macallan.
mainly stick to Macallan.
Yeah, good deal. Well, listen, guys, you have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to do left-handed as well,
No worries.
And hey, we're all Boy Scouts, right?
Actually, I was.
Were you really?
I was.
Eagle out?
No, I made it to life.
Well, that's the important thing, though, right?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Okay, you guys travel safe, and all the best fortune to you with
Kuxe.
Kuxe.
You as well.
I was gonna twist that one around a little bit. I can't believe I got it the first time. Take care, guys.
You as well.